Yes. I don't think Imam Shafi'i needs an introduction, but we're going to give him an introduction. Even though I know he's not going to like what I'm going to say, because people of knowledge do not like overpraise. But he deserves all the praise, mashallah. Imam Shafi'i is, as we all know, IOCC has become a community where you're able to go to that masjid and not feel left out. You're able to walk in, especially as a youth, and be welcomed. And be welcomed. And he is empowering, like Imam Shams and like Imam Abdurrahim, empowering the youth to lead, to be, because he knows that's who's going to take care of and run everything, is the youth. And even the Prophet ﷺ used to give big delegations and big tasks to the youth. Right? And here we have these amazing Imams who follow the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and cherish and value the youth, which I think is one of the most important things we can have today. Alhamdulillah for having them both here. Now, you want to add anything, Imam Shafi'i? Humble guys, mashallah, humble. They're not like me, I just sit there and talk. They're very humble, mashallah. The first question that we have, what is the best advice either of you can give to somebody trying to seek knowledge?
Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. There are many advices that Imams give. Like in knowledge itself, or seeking knowledge is a fard, right? It's a must, it's compulsory. And this does not exclude girls from boys or boys from girls. All of us should be seeking knowledge. Hadith of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Talabul ilmi faridah ala kulli muslim." Seeking knowledge is a must. So anything that is obligatory or a must or compulsory has conditions and has requirements, has rules and regulations. The general advice is one, you have to be a mukhlis or mukhlisa. Ikhlas. Ikhlas means sincerity, doing or seeking to do something only for the sake of Allah. That is the first advice. And that is the basis of every act of worship. Every act, including seeking knowledge. Secondly, you have to learn from Anbiya and Rusul, especially the last of all of them, who is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasul is a good example. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. Indeed, you have in the messenger a good example. A good example in the sense that he was a student of Islam and the Prophet of Islam, a teacher. Manners, morals, etiquettes, behaviors, ethics, good conducts that he had when receiving Al-Quran and the Sunnah from Allah via Jibril alayhi salam. How did he conduct himself? So you have to, a student of knowledge should be well behaved and should be disciplined. You should lead in morals and good behaviors. And then number three is you should be prepared for the challenges, confrontations, hardships, tribulations, and tests and trials that comes in that path of seeking knowledge. It's never easy. If you ask any student here at college, middle school, or even elementary, up to PhD, has your journey been easy? The answer is not going to be yes. All of us will agree that it has not been. So think about waking up, sleeping late, What about seeking knowledge of, we call it ilm shari'? It's more difficult than any other, than seeking other knowledge. So you need to be patient. you need to be patient. Another two advices is you have to listen to your teacher and obey your teacher. One of the scholars says that كاد معلم أن يكون ماذا رسولا أو نبيا. That a teacher is almost, a teacher's almost, yani, how do you, my English is not good. Close to be a prophet or a messenger. And a teacher is not a messenger, right? The last prophet and Nabi is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But because of the role of a teacher of deen, and how much annoyance and how much hardships and difficulties going through, yeah? And the amount of sabr that you need to be an imam or a teacher of deen, and say that he's almost to be qualified to be. So having said all that, the last one is you need to understand the virtue, the fadl and makana of seeking knowledge. Because if you don't value something, why do you want to be doctors? Why do you want to be engineers? Why? Because we know that at the end it pays, right? So if you don't know the value of knowledge or seeking knowledge, right? You may be very emotional about it. But then it reaches a time when you say, you give up, you say, you know why? Because at the end your thinking is, yeah, if I seek knowledge, what does it lead to? Maybe becoming an imam? No, there are enough imams in Denver. So why should I seek knowledge? But it's beyond being an imam. It's your deen. It's an ibadah. It's the condition of your a'mal. It is a requirement of increasing your iman. So, yeah, this is a few that we have from IOCC.
The advice I would give would be good friends and environment. In addition to what Shafi said, choose friends that will encourage you, that will push you, that you will strive to get higher levels and be like them. So if those people that you're hanging around, they will inspire you to be better. And the second advice is the environment. So where am I spending my time? What type of environment? What am I feeding into myself and my heart? And you steel sharpens steel, so encourage each other.
The next question we have is, how do you motivate your family members and your friends to be on their deen without making it feel like a burden? Or making it feel like you're telling them as if you're their parent and, kind of being in charge over them. How do you motivate those people around you, especially starting with your family and then moving on to your friends, without making it feel like a burden, especially when it comes down to the deen?
So, a lot of times when we're young people and we're coming to the deen strong and we're very passionate about it, we want everybody to be on our same level. And so we have to realize that everybody is on their own level and is on their own time. So sometimes people need time. One of the things that Brother Abdullah mentioned was not to look down upon people. And so in my sincerity and in my understanding and believing with yaqeen that this is the right path, at the same time I still have to know that others have to choose this path for themselves, and I have to give them time and I have to be patient with them. And so in the meantime, I need to be a good example and I need to have good akhlaq. So I need to have good character and good manners and treat them well. Because people at the end of the day will remember how they felt, how you treated them, and they may not necessarily remember the words that you said or the hadith, right? So we have to be very careful in our zeal in no, we have to pray, we have to do this, and you have to dress this way, or you have to realize that everyone is on their own personal journey, and I can only be there as somebody who's embodying as much as I can the deen and the Islam. So And this is the many times that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Prophet ﷺ in the Quran that you cannot guide the one that you love. إِنَّكَ لَن تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. You cannot guide the one who, just because you love them, like his uncle Abu Talib, who always supported him, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides who He will. So I think this is the most important thing, and especially for young people, is the main thing is like when you come strong into the deen, that doesn't mean you can be a good influence, and don't give up either. Like mom or dad is not praying, or certain family members have bad habits, or things like this. It doesn't mean give up and say, oh, I told them once. That I know family members from back home where mom and dad were not praying, cousins, right? That their mom and dad were not praying, distant cousins. But subhanAllah, through them coming and being today and coming and this and that, eventually their dad, who was like always close to the masjid, but not someone who went to the masjid, he went to Hajj, and then he was people from him, and then in that last year, before he died, that's what he was doing. And so you don't know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has wisdom, but he was always there still, kind, this and that, with his sisters, with his mom, with his dad. And subhanAllah, Allah barak, Allah passed them away when they were in a better state than maybe they began. So you have to be patient with people and kind with people.
Where is this sanitizer? Corona is still around, right? MashaAllah. Okay, so Imam Ana has already, Sheikh Imam Shamsi has already sealed the deal, right? Just to add on what he has said, Jazakallahu khairan, is that there are levels of al-amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. There are levels. This is what he was saying. There are different levels of inviting to Allah, enjoining what is good, and forbidding what is evil. This fasting today is very some people are like this. Please sit straight. Have some suhoor, it's sunnah. Suhoor, there's barakah here, there's sunnah. It pushes you until, somewhere afternoon. Then you start feeling some pinchings here and there. Hey. So there are levels of inviting people to Allah, enjoining what is good, and also forbidding what is evil. And the point is this. It's a journey that we are traveling. And it's a process. Increasing your iman, seeking knowledge, acting upon your Islam, increasing your Islam to Iman, ascending from Iman to Ihsan, until you become among al-muttaqin. It's a process. A process for you and also for others. Understand that. It's a journey and it's a process. Number two, there are different levels, right? But the general ways and means and maybe methods of doing this is, for example, an ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا. That instruct your family, encourage your family, remind your family to establish prayers, but then be patient in doing that. So the word patience is connected to al-amru bis-salah. Patience until when? Somebody say, you go crazy. I've been trying with my family. I've been trying with my sister, but she doesn't listen. We say, when did you start reminding her? 2 years ago. I said, please, give us a break. Nuh alayhi salam invited people for how long? 950 years. You're 2 years minus 900. Who is good in math? 950. If you take 2 years out, where is our patience? So this is one side. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Ud'u ila sabili rabbik bil hikmati wal maw'izati al-hasana wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan." Somebody may say, but this is targeting non-Muslims. I say it also applies to Muslims. invite, because da'wah has been misunderstood. That da'wah should only be directed to non-Muslims. Some ayat are specifically targeting non-Muslims. Some ayat are not. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلْتَكُمْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ. الدعوة إلى الخير عامة. It's general. So when you are inviting people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says manners of inviting people is bil hikmah, be wise. Wisdom. Wisdom wal maw'idatil hasan. And also use good words, good admonition. Don't insult people. You big head, you this and that, you kafira, I think you're a munafiq, I think you're fasik. A'udhu billah, I cannot even. And especially when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided you to act upon certain things. Do not make those few things that you are doing to represent the whole a'mal salihah. This is our weakness. It can be from Shabbat. We are keeping good. It is sunnah wajiba. Right? Lakin because you don't see that in your brother, you start saying, oh, there is a sheikh who gave a khutbah in America, in New Mexico. They invited him on Jum'ah and he stood on the member. The first minute, 5th, 10th was very good. 11th, 13th, he messed up. He started saying he was mad. You know, we can be mad at the members. Haram, you know, halal. So the sheikh started saying, I'm going to tell Anas ukallimukum bisarah. Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'm seeing a lot of women in front of me here. That is even an insult for women. Why do we call men women? It doesn't make sisters happy when you are calling men women. He is on the member on Jum'ah. That is the Sheikh Khatib, Sheikh, who came from another state. This is also happening amongst ourselves. So wisdom is a key, good admonition. Number 3, patience. And what else? Even if it goes to, because some people can be stubborn. Some Muslims are very stubborn. They know that they don't pray and they should pray. And when you remind them, they tell you, oh, they have big answers. Ya Allah. I heard a Muslim saying, hey, when did you become Rasul? When did you become Prophet Muhammad? Have you brought the last wahi? Oh, listen, are you Jibreel? Are you going to go with me to the grave? MashaAllah, you have become a scholar now. Ali, MashaAllah. She or he is mocking at the other person. Muslims can also be. So a person who is inviting to Allah, or a person who is forbidding what is wrong, evil, or a person who is enjoying or encouraging what is right, should know that that is ibadah and it is a responsibility. Likewise, a person who is being reminded or corrected should not be stubborn. Should remember that if you don't want to follow this advice that leads you to Dar es-Salam, it leads you to Allah, you are but following who? Shaitan. Because it is Shaitan who was commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show respect, to bow down to Adam alayhi salam. It was not a prostration of ibadah, but of honor and respect. What did he do? Aba was takbar. Anybody who refuses a good advice, you rather keep quiet. You rather keep quiet because of your weakness, but don't challenge what is a good thing that your brother or your sister is doing. So I just wanted to add that, be patient, be wise, use good words. You know, who is worse than Firaun? After Shaitan, Firaun is number 2, right? Like what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell Musa alayhi salam on his way to Firaun? فَقُولَ لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا لَعَلَّهُ يَتَذَكَّرُ أَوْ يَخْشَىٰ. A lot of madness, a lot of craziness, raising your voice, right? Labeling people has not helped. Because this person is doing wrong and you don't know how much Shaitan has occupied his heart or his mind. So you are trying to save this person from that wrong path to يعني من الظلمات إلى النور. Be a little bit lenient, and polite with him. And of course, when need be, where you have to raise your voice a little bit, that is also part of Islam. That is why I said it is of different levels. Wallahu a'lam.
We're going to switch gears on this next question. Jazakumullah khair. Are we allowed to use chapstick while fasting? Sheikh, my lips get cracked and it's bleeding and dry.
I'm going to add, I'm just going to make it more clear.
Please.
Then Imam Shamsi will add, we will answer that. The chapstick,
Vaseline.
just Vaseline.
Let's say Vaseline. Let's say non-flavored Vaseline.
No, it's allowed.
Not allowed.
It is allowed.
Oh, it is allowed.
Because it's not one of the mufsidat to siyam. It's not one of the invalidators of fasting. When is your fasting invalidated? If something goes through your throat, this is just here. So there is no problem with it. Wallahu a'lam. I thought you meant the, how do you call it, the red thing.
No, I'm talking about, that's another
Lipstick,
Yeah.
chapstick.
Imam Shams is not this thing. So at IUCC, we call it lipstick?
Chapstick.
We call it, how do you call it?
Girls are lipstick.
Or girls.
Girls.
And boys. So I thought it is, how do you call it, ketchup. Sorry, sir. I'm joking. It's allowed to joke in Ramadan, right? Yes. No, it's allowed to joke in Ramadan. Allowed to joke.
It's allowed to wear chapstick. It's allowed to use a miswak. The modern version of the miswak is a toothbrush. I was thinking, like logically, the other day, like Sahaba, they were making wudu when they're fasting, and they're rinsing their mouth. And so some people are paranoid and they allow this was to come and they're like spitting all the time. Like I brush my teeth. So Sahab, there's maybe atoms, particles of water, of H2O in the mouth, and that is being swallowed. That is not like something that's breaking the siyam. So think about it logically. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making the deen easy for you. يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. He wants for you ease and He doesn't want for you difficulty. And this ayah is actually talking right next to the ayahs about Ramadan and fasting. So Allah wants ease for you. He doesn't want difficulty for you. So sometimes if things are whispering, did I make wudu correct? Did I pray my prayer? Do I have to spit out this toothpaste or mouthwash or this and that? You know, cut that, because that is the shaitan trying to make the deen difficult. So try to cut those waswas, but those things are allowed.
Alright, I'm going to switch gears again. Inshallah. Now this question asks, yeah? Well, this is just a regular one. How do you know if someone is the one for you?
What else do you got? I mean, how much time we got?
Is there such a feeling at ease, making more dua, being more mindful of Allah, and so on? And there's a lot of good questions.
Okay, so we gotta be fast and shit. Yeah. We gotta be fast.
There's a lot of good questions.
Can we want to give an offer? Me and Imam Shamsi, if he agrees.
Yeah.
Can you have a special setting on this?
We need a session on marriage.
We want to talk
I
about
do want to do a session on
love
marriage.
stories. We want to talk about love.
Long time. I do.
Love, marriage, desire, dating in Islam. Why don't we have a special session with you?
Yeah, yeah. We can do it at IOCC. We can do it here,
Anywhere.
wherever, inshallah. Yeah.
Because we are not going to do enough justice to this.
We need a whole evening, but the sheikhs, they said, don't do it after Isha because you're going to stay till Fajr.
Yeah.
So you have to, there has to be a cutoff point, like Maghrib till Isha.
Or Fajr, inshallah, to breakfast. Or night to suhoor, how is that? Listen, I'm giving you an ayah. We're going to build. I have.
Imam, can you bring closer the microphone? People are saying they can't hear you.
My voice.
MashaAllah.
Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just an ayah. Just an ayah. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنطَرَةِ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ. Ayah continues. that decorated for mankind. Decorated for mankind is the desire of what? Of loving women, right? Horses, gold. So I just want to throw one answer from Quran that naturally we were created to desire. It depends on how you want to use that desire. Now, if you want us to discuss a specific area in connection to that desire, I think this is a needed topic. Many young people are hanging here. You do talk to me secretly, Imam, you know, some of you, right? And some girls will be texting you at, you know, Imam, you know, and they feel shy a little bit. But I think we need to talk about this, especially being in America. Our conditions and situations are a little bit different from back at home. I suggest and I request, and this should come from whenever you want me, Imam Shamsi, and maybe another Imam, it will be a very good topic if we discuss it collectively, because there is much to be understood and to be discussed. Allahu Akbar.
Okay, next question. What is the best way to stop yourself from sinning? Especially when you're alone. What is the best way to stop yourself from sinning? When you're alone and when you're in public with friends.
I'll give you a story. Ibrahim al-Adham was a pious person. And he was approached by, he was a abid. He was approached by a person, he said, Sheikh, I have done a big sin. How can I prevent myself from sinning? This was mentioned in the khutbah here at CBA. You guys heard this? Whoever was here 2 weeks ago. He said, if you guys were awake. So he said, okay, when you are sinning, make sure that no one is looking at you. No one in existence is looking at you. He's like, how can I do that? When I know that Allah is watching me. He's like, then how can you be proud of sinning while Allah is watching you? He said, when you are sinning, do not do this sin on top of Allah's earth. He said, how can I do so when I know that everything in existence is owned by Allah and the earth belongs to Allah? He said, how can you do so when Allah is watching you and you are on His earth? He said, if you want to sin, he said, give me more, zid me, give me more every time. That's like 2, 3, 4, 5 times. He said, when you are sinning, do not eat from his sustenance. Do not eat from his food or from his drink. He said, how can I do so? And he is the one who is the Razzaq, and he provides me the food, and I am on his earth. And how can you do so when he is looking at you? And so he went down this, these are the ones that I remember, there's about 2 more. He said, when the angel of death comes to you, tell him to delay you, akhirni. He said, I cannot do so, and the angel, he will not listen to me. He said, okay, how can you and how can you? He said, when you are being dragged to the hellfire, tell them, no, do not drag me there. Okay? And then at that point, the questioner, he said, enough, Shaykh, khalas. And he did not return to that. So this is kind of just like a story, but that happened as well. Similar answer.
That was really good. Because then you're constantly checking yourself. You're constantly always checking yourself and checking your nafs on the things you do. Next question is it haram to speak?
I'll add something to that. If I have a bad habit of, like, for instance, watching haram things at certain times, right? So I notice myself that I'm watching haram things at times or places. I notice myself that I'm in a particular environment. I have a screen in my room and it's late at night when the door is closed. At that point in time, I should not allow myself to be in that environment. I should allow the screen to be in a public place where anyone can walk by at the kitchen table at any particular time. Or at a particular time when I know that I'm always caught up in something, then I'm with my friends at that time, or I put myself around others. This is also another way to avoid, like, more practical for a lot of things that we see.
We're going to do 2 more questions and we'll end with a dua if you guys don't mind, inshallah. Okay. How do you hold your tongue when talking to your parents, even if you know you are right? We hear a lot about the rights that the parents have upon their kids, but what is the child's right upon the parent?
child.
So, parents have rights upon us. Parents are our ticket to Al-Jannah. Rida Allah thumma rida al-walidain. The pleasure of Allah and then the pleasure of our parents. If your parent asks you to do something against Allah, then you do not obey them in the disobedience of Allah. Other than that, things that even you don't like it and you know you're right in this argument or you're annoyed by them, that doesn't mean that you have to fight with them and push back at them. Remember how you treat your parents and respect or disrespect them, that's how you will see your kids treat you. This is kind of like a cultural thing, like, you know, it's not for the Sharia necessarily, but الدنيا دوامة, like that. And also, also remember that whoever leaves an argument for the sake of Allah, Allah will reward them with the reward of Jannah. And so, a lot of times, we naturally, physically, growing up, we have to start our own household. So Allah puts in us that, yes, I have to be independent, I have to have my own thought process, I have to make my own decision. This is natural because I have to start my own family, so I'm a teenager, I'm going to adolescence, adulthood, etc. So this is natural. At that same time, I need to be controlling those desires, controlling my tongue, controlling how I act. I'm the last person to talk about this. So this is the advice for me as well, especially I remember growing up how it was very difficult. But leaving an argument for the sake of Allah, what do you lose? Really, what do you lose? You know, there's no...
We need to be serious. We need to be serious. You have rights that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you as a human being and as a son or daughter of somebody. You have your rights. حقوق الولد والبنت مشروعة and they are based in Quran and Sunnah. No doubt about that. Your parents have their rights as human beings, but also as parents. What children need to understand, never ever compare yourself with your parents. That is the beginning of our problems. Especially in this land where we think that, you know, we are equal. And sometimes we forget that we will never ever be equal to our parents. That is the reality. You are never equal to your parents. You are never. You are a Muslim, he's a Muslim, she's a Muslim. Yes, you're a human being, but you remain to be a child, and that is your parents. Their rights surpasses yours. You know, issues of Iman, when we are talking about leniency, and we are talking about softness, and we are talking about wisdom and good admonition, also there is hard part of it. There are areas that does not really please us, especially when we are told. For example, you have to respect your parents. You have to obey your parents when they are obeying Allah. You are not allowed to obey your parents when they are disobeying Allah. But as soon as you start thinking that you and your mother or your dad is equal, so this brings that ego in your arrogance and the ego that you can argue with them. And then it takes you, now Shaitan takes you to, you start by thinking that it's just your equal. And then you go a little bit, that is your own arrogance too. I can argue with you, leave me alone. And then Shaitan tells you that now, you need to do one thing, be ungrateful to the ni'mah of Allah. Now you have, so that you start telling them, you are mean, you are this, you are rude to me. That is so rude. And you bang the door on your parents. Go to Hajj 10 times. Perform how many salawat? Nawafil and siyam. Rasulullah said there is no Jannah. So when it comes to certain hukuk, we have to be very serious. I'm telling you that. Me, you together. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put you in a situation whereby tomorrow, naturally, you're going to be somebody's what? Mother or dad. As our Sheikh said, how do you expect to be treated? Yes, sometimes our parents are a little bit mean, as you say. But do you have right to tell them you are mean and you're this? And then we teach them by saying, I'm going to leave this house. One of the scholars says the following, because hadith is already explained by our Sheikh here. He said he quoted hadith of Ridha Allah fi Ridha al-Walidain, right? وَسُخْطُ اللَّهِ فِي سُخْطِ الْوَالِدَيْنِ. That the pleasure of Allah is through the pleasure of parents. Allah is not going to be pleased with you if your parents are not pleased with you. And the anger of Allah is also connected to anger of. So one of the scholars says the following. I think this is the best advice I can give you today. Listen to this. With this scholar, having understood ayat and ahadith that addresses hukuk, the rights of parents and their virtue, we say, ما رضاه الله إلا برضاء الوالدين وما بقاء الكون إلا بحنن الأبوين فكل من يغضب أما أو أبا يغضب ربه فبطول روح فداهما تجد الخير جزاء. I do not have best English to translate this. Imam Shamsi is going to translate this. ما رضاه الله إلا برضاء الوالدين.
Allah's pleasure is not there except for through the pleasure of your two parents.
وما بقاء الكون إلا بحنن الأبوين.
And the existence of the universe is not there except for the softness or the kindness and the love of the parents.
If they wanted, they would have flushed you out. These clinics are free. You go, they give you some, and then you're flushed the following day. But they kept you. You kicked them for 9 months, and you are kicking them. You started playing all basketballs and were in their stomach. It's not easy. I've been asking students, when you eat the most delicious iftar, how long do you keep it in your stomach? For 3 days? Before you go to the post office? Can you keep it for 1 week? If you are told, keep that food for a week, we're going to pay you 100,000. Are you going to keep it? No. So how comes that your parents kept you for 9 months? Right. So the last part of this is, فَكُلُّ مَنْ يُغْضِبُ أُمًا أَوْ أَبًا يُغْضِبُ رَبَّهُ.
So whoever makes angry a mother or a father, they make their Lord angry.
Your mother doesn't need clothes from you, man. They had clothes before you, shoes before you. They traveled here before you. So فَابْذُلُوا رُوحَ فِدَاهُمَا تَجِدُ الْخَيْرَ جَزَاءً.
So sacrifice your soul for them both, and you will find the reward.
The best, right? Yeah. Be patient with your parents. We are patient in class. We are patient with so and so. Why can't we be patient with the closest to us? Wallahi, you will never compare mercy of your parents. I mean, how do you describe mercy of your parents? You tell your parents, you hate me. That is shaitan playing with you. Let us be straight about this. Mend your relationship with your parents. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after Allah and His Messenger, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is connecting haqq of Allah and yani ta'a, obedience to Allah and obedience to وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. You have to be kind for your Jannah, inshallah, and for my Jannah.
Jazakumullah khairan. Very good advice. Last question here, we only got 5 minutes left, and then we'll wrap up with the dua.
I thought it was 2.
That was the first one. So someone said that their relationship with Allah has become really good. However, their relationship with the Prophet is lacking behind. How can they fix that? And what do you suggest? Can I speak about this for a quick second, with your permission? I think the best thing that we could do, because I've experienced this myself, where we fall into the deep end of ibadah, and we forget other parts. And the Prophet ﷺ, in my opinion, the best way to really understand this man, to follow his sunnah, and to attain that love for him, is to learn about him. Learn about his seerah. Learn about his life. Learn about his hardships. Learn about the fact that he was an orphan. Learn about the fact that his mother passed away at the age of 6. That young boy was holding his mom's hand when she passed away. That young boy did not ever get to meet his father. That same exact young boy has lost children upon children that he had to bury with his own hands. And he had to lose his most beloved Khadija, who was his pillar, his rock, his everything. How can we relate to him if we don't know about him? How can we love him if we don't know him? That is the best advice that has helped me personally, is to learn about our beloved Prophet. There's many series online. There's many books you can read. Rahiq al-Makhtoum is one of the best and easy books to read, called The Sealed Nectar. One of the best and easy books to read, all authentic as well, to learn about the seerah of the Prophet. And in my personal opinion, that is one way you can achieve the love of the Prophet and gain his love as well, inshallah, and build that love for him.
You don't talk a lot at CVA.
And you don't talk a lot at CBA, inshallah.
Learning institute. You teach.
Ask the students, they'll say I talk too much.
Inshallah. Could we end with a dua? Inshallah.
I had one advice on the last question was the pleasure of the parents connected to marriage. I see this a lot. Do not get yourself caught up with somebody, talking to them for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and then you get on your brim. Now you want to go and show them to your parents, and you want to force them now on your family because you were messing around, and now you want to force them on. So now you want to talk about where's my rights, but you forget the rights of your dad. You know that this person is never going to be accepted by your family, right? And why'd you get yourself caught up? Now, Sheikh, I have an emergency. I need to talk to you, Sheikh. We need to talk. We need to see you. I need this and that. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So you cannot. We don't have like go elope to Las Vegas, and you're like Tupac and me against the world, me and my girl against the world, and we're just going to survive. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
I'm sure it's dangerous.
No, it doesn't work that way. So this is the point that came up. Yeah.
He needs American. When I make something Islamic for Imams, right?
It doesn't work because at the end of the day, they are the grandparents of those children. And your brothers and sisters are the uncles and the aunties of those children. It's families coming together. And I know growing up, we think, oh, it's no big deal, this and that. When you are married and you say, no, this is families, this is in-laws. I have to have the pleasure of my parents. So it's one thing to get something people caught up. May Allah forgive us and all that. But the whole idea of my parents are being fair and this and that. If my parents are truly not being fair, and they don't want me to go with this good Muslim boy or this good Muslim girl because from a certain tribe or a certain location, this and that, then you go and call, you bring Sheikh Shafi, you bring an uncle from the father, you bring this and that, you talk to them, because everything is legit. But most of the time, it's not legit, and then we come forward and Sheikh, come and save me, I don't know what to do. And that's the cliffhanger for the next session that we're going to have, Sheikh, inshallah. But that's connecting the last two questions, which is about the marriage and about the rights. What's my rights as a child and what's my rights as a parent? And this is one big area of conflict as well that comes in. I'd love for you to have it, and then you're going to make the answer.
I just want to encourage young people. This is outside the topic. Imams, we always have that. We are dealing with many issues in the community, especially these marriages, right? Please, please. You cannot be a pilot without a license, which means you have to take a course and right. You can't be a scientist without, you can't be a doctor without. The biggest institution, the largest and deepest, and the most complicated is marriage. I'm requesting each one of you to approach imams and sheikhs, and we have many, many sheikhs. We have female, counselors, highly qualified, Please, if you think of getting married, start learning, seek knowledge and understanding about marriage. I'm advising all youth, whoever want to get married next year, contact Imam Shamsi, have 2, 3, 4 sessions with him. At IOCC, we have those, services. Contact me. I'm going to sit with both of you or you alone. Please acquire knowledge about marriage. The rate of divorce amongst young people is very high. Maybe sisters knows and brothers knows. A dude who got married, 2, 3, 4 years ago, meet with him now. He's going to tell you that, I'm processing my divorce in the court. I'm in prison because you got into what you didn't understand. This is my sincere Ramadan gift for you. Learn to know what marriage is. Some people come for divorce and I ask them, why do you want a divorce? And then they give some excuse and I ask them, Did you go for counseling, premarital? He say no. So it's very dangerous. As much as you want to get married, but we find that there is less marriage than amongst young people, less marriage than more divorces that we're experiencing. And it's not easy to give yourself to a brother, to one homie here, one bro. And 2, 3, 4 years, it's like, Imam Shamsi, we want to talk. Some of you are calling us after midnight, at 2 or 3. Right? So keep that in mind. Seek the understanding of marriage before you got into it. You would have saved a very, very, big portion of problems that, people are going through. Most of it is because of lack of, people are just getting married because she's cute, he's cute. He has American jeans with, how do you call it? Levi's or that stuff with the Nike here. And he's tall, he has 7-pack, not 6. And then his neck is like this, and he walks like, oh, you say, oh, I can't sleep, Sisters are saying, I can sleep. He's so cute. What is cute in him? Do you know his deen? Do you know his akhlaq? We need to talk about this, inshallah. Let's be very serious. Very serious.
There's the marriage toolkit from the FYI, the Family and Youth Institute. You go to the FYI and search marriage toolkit. And even if you don't have someone in mind, it'll tell you, before you even start talking to them, what you need to do individually as a person. Because you don't go into a marriage seeking to get, you go in to actually serve. So the mentality has to be, not what can I get, it has to be, what can I give? And so there is a marriage kit. I do have it on my bio on my Instagram. So if you go to my Instagram, there's bio, you click on there, and there is the FYI marriage toolkit. And I require a pre-marriage counseling. If anybody wants to do a marriage with me, I require at least one. There should be multiple sessions, and at least go and find that marriage toolkit, so that's a practical thing, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to unite our hearts. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us to that which is pleasing to Him, and that inshallah will be our entry into Jannah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us our fasting, our qiyam, our ruku', our sujood. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us and return us to Him a beautiful return. Return our youth, our brothers and our sisters to us a beautiful return. To purify our hearts. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cleanse our hearts of any hasad and anger, and purify our tongues from backbiting, and purify our eyes from khiyana and that which is negative. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us in these final 10 days as they approach their study here on Sunday, and to allow us to be among those who witness Laylatul Qadr. May Allah bless our Imams and our Shuyukh. May Allah bless our youth and our youth leaders, sisters and brothers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our masajid, our schools, our institutions. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us and forgive our sins, that which we've done in the past and that which we have yet to done. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our parents and our brothers and our sisters, and mend the relationships between us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that which is paradise, the highest levels, and for those at A'la, and that which will bring us closer to it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from the fire, and that which will bring us closer to it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be with our brothers and sisters suffering around the world, in Bayt al-Maqdis and everywhere around the world, inshaAllah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them ease and give them victory against those who are oppressing them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless our children and to make them be the followers of this deen into the future, and to a bright future of the community and the society, inshaAllah, and give them strength and knowledge and understanding and wisdom. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد والحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خير. Thank you all for coming. This is your masjid. Thank you, Sheikh Shafi'i. Thank you, Jazakallah khair, Brother Abdullah, all the sisters, all the brothers for coming. We look forward to continue to sit together, inshallah, and benefit from each other. Jazakallah khair. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Shalla la ilaha illa anta. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Just a quick announcements before you guys leave. There will be iftar at IOCC. There will be iftar at IOCC. It's only 7 minutes down the road. There will be iftar at IOCC. There's i'tikaf night at My Pai, with that My Pai is hosting in Masjid Ikhlas. It starts after Tarawih.